looked frustrated during many moments in the match. What frustrated you the most about the performance?
No, it was. I think we can do better, but we are putting the effort. So that is the most important thing for me. I think in some moments we did well, especially in the beginning of the game, and I felt that after the goal, we were thinking about the result, just the result. And this team needs to win games, so we need to focus on the performance, what we need to do, because if we think about the results, we forget to do the normal things. So that was my feeling. We were okay until the goal. We scored a goal, and we should do the opposite. So have more possessions, push more the opponent, and I think we were not smart in that moment.
Do you think then the main challenge is to keep that urgency, that mentality of not only the result, but also how do you push that into the players?
No, it's just we have to think in this moment. We need to think about the performance. Of course, I'm not crazy. I know what is the feeling of a player that plays in the team that has to win every match. But I don't feel. I felt that in the past. I don't feel lack of urgency in this moment. What I felt is that we missed the penalty. We missed some chances, and then we score. And I have the feeling that the team was now we have to defend this goal, and that is not lack of urgency. It's maybe urgency in the opposite side. So we just need to focus on our movements, the way we have to play the game until the end.
Yeah, defensively, why do you think Fulham kept getting into good positions, and with corners as well, they were always looking dangerous?
Yeah, it's normal. I think we tried to press high, and was after 1-2 times we need to understand that sometimes we need to manage the game, to wait for the opponent. Was that the option of Fulham? And sometimes we push the ball to the side too soon. It was quite easy for the opponent to mark us, and we wanted to press all the time. We want to do that, but sometimes we have to be better in that moment, understand the game, try to drop a little bit, and then start the pressure. So they had more space than us when they were attacking.
Bruno's penalty, we saw that the referee kind of bumped into him, and he looked upset and disrupted by it. Did he mention anything to you about that? Do you think it was enough to disrupt him in the way that he took the penalty?
No, I think he's not used to miss a penalty. He knows the importance that every moment in this context can have a huge impact in the team. And I felt that he during the game he was like not so happy, not so involved, because he has so much responsibility. And I think he felt that miss the penalty was a huge for us.
You mentioned the result. Do you think this is something that the team is bringing from last season? This need to get results, and you guys need to deal with it better mentally?
That is normal. We just want to win games, and they are humans. They know the context. They read everything, and they know they play in one club that they need to be better. But for me, during the week is completely different. They work really hard. Today they work really hard. Sometimes not in the good way, but they work. So with that I can work, and with that I'm really confident that we are going to get many wins.
Thank you, Ruben.
Thank you.
For me from that interview is that he said they scored, and then he felt as if they felt, the players, that they need to defend that lead.
Probably because I think after finishing, 15th last season, they want to find a win game. So you get ahead, and then you think, all right, well, maybe we'll find a way to protect this. But for the first 15, 20 minutes, I thought they played fantastic. You have 3 huge opportunities. And that's because they just played, focused on how they want to play. Mason Mount got in some good positions. And then they scored, and then they just dropped off. And Fulham controlled the game. And if that game would have gone on any longer, Fulham probably could have won it. So I think in that sense, he nailed it, Ruben, and he's spot on in his analysis of the game. They kind of stopped playing, allowed Fulham back into the game when they should have just gone and tried to win the game and get a second goal.
Does that speak to the fact that they've won only once in their last 11 league games going back to last season?
Yeah.
And as he said, when they scored the goal, they were already thinking about the result.
5 wins in 24 as well in the league. He's trying to change the culture. The players that he's brought in are very, very good signings. The likes of Cunha, the likes of Mbeumo, they will change things. My worry watching that Man United second half performance is how they drifted out of the game. That's when you're looking for your players who have an impact to produce a moment, to run hard, to try and get on the ball, create things. I think the effort was there in general. I think he's spot on in his analysis there, Ruben Amorim. But I've tipped Man United to finish 6th. I thought the improvements would be a little bit sharper and a little bit better. I know it's only 2 games in. The performance when you play first day of the season against Arsenal at home, the adrenaline's there. First game of the season, everyone's on a high. You can perform. And they should have got something out of the game. The acid test for Man United to see where they're going to be at the end of the season was today. They had to win that game today. And the fact that they took the lead, dropped off, and as Owen said, it was Fulham that were going to win the game, that'll be a big worry.
Well, who are you hoping to see more from today then, Owen?
Well, I think for me the biggest worry is I love Cunha, I love Mbeumo. You know, Bruno, we know he had a bad day today. The one thing, my biggest worry going forward is the goalkeeping situation isn't addressed and the striker position isn't addressed. And I've never seen a team win without those two positions, with top players in those positions. So maybe they're going to address that in the next week. Maybe somebody comes in, they don't. But I think goalkeeper, striker, he's got to address first. I think that the two in behind, Cunha and Mbeumo, are fantastic. But I think the two at the top and the back, they need to be addressed ASAP. Because if you look at the fixtures coming, you know, obviously Burnley expect them to win. But City, Chelsea, you know, they are really, really difficult fixtures.
Yeah, and then Liverpool 2 games after that to come.
To come from Craven Cottage, Robbie Mustoe, Tim Howard here in the studio. I'm Rebecca Lowe. Tim, a draw and a defeat for Ruben Amorim. How do you rate that start?
Not great. Not great. My expectation was, having seen what we saw at Old Trafford last weekend against Arsenal, they would come here and not steamroll Fulham. Fulham's a good team, but have their way a bit more than they did. And there were moments I thought that United played well in the game, but overall, there were moments that Fulham played really well too. And you just expect United to control this game, and it didn't happen. It got loose. It was a little bit off the cuff at times. And I'm so used to having watched them during preseason and opening weekend that there is a game plan, that there is a way that Ruben Amorim wants to play. They lost that a little bit today, and so not worrying, but disappointed.
We saw progression last weekend, didn't we, from Manchester United? Did you see any of that today?
No. I thought the start of the game okay, first 15, 20 minutes, but the second half was a realisation that 2 new players in the side is not going to change that much. So I'd be holding on against Fulham at this point with the money they've spent is disappointing for the United fans. And the fans are brilliant. Man United fans are brilliant. They clap them off. But that's not good. Ruben Amorim didn't look happy walking off there. He expects his team, Rebecca, to control more of that second half, to be the team looking to win it. And some of the moments, some of the little details that it's easy to look past, so we're not going to look by them in these highlights, shows the weakness in certain areas in the midfield, at right wing back, that cost them today. So they are desperate. They brought all these attacking players in, a huge amount of money, but there's glaring holes in the middle of midfield where they need 2 players. Casemiro adds nothing, and he's won more things than I could dream about winning, but he adds nothing to the midfield. Ugarte is meant to be a steel-like guy. He doesn't play Tim. Mainu can play a little bit. Kobbie Mainu, we don't see him. They need central midfield players, or play another guy in there to make 3, because they are absent so often.
Let me just touch on that, Bex. So we heard Ruben Amorim talk about, and I think one or two of the players said in preseason, they're finishing their attacks too fast, right? And what that translates to is what he wants his team to do is what City do best, right? They get around the penalty area, they camp out,
sustain attacks,
right? But what that points to, and the best teams need 2 midfielders behind the ball that just take care of everything, that put out fires, that regain possession, that facilitate, that allow those front 4 or 5 players to camp out and get around the box. They don't have that. And so that's where it's missing. So, like, even though he's frustrated that he's not getting these attacks that are sustained and slowed down in and around the penalty area, he doesn't have the midfielders to do it. And he knows that.
Does he just need 1 new midfielder?
2.
And what kind? Talk us.
Generals. What I'd say is a general. Not a fancy, clever player, but a player that can do a little bit of everything. Of course, in the past, United have had incredible ones. I had a manager, Brian Robson, played against Roy Keane. Players that could do everything. Could tackle, could pass, could score, could lead, could command, could... Paul Ince was another one that would just rattle everybody. They need help in there. Instead of all those front players that you know...
Quite frankly, the top teams in this league have him. Tonali at Newcastle, right? Is McAllister, Rodri, McAllister at Liverpool, Gravenberch. You know, so I think of all the top teams.
Ugarte was meant to be that person.
He was, and Stephen Warnock correctly said that. He just doesn't have the. He's not good enough footballer. He's a bit tough, but he's not a good enough footballer to. But you look at the top teams. The person you're explaining, they have those. Those players exist, and United don't have them.
Just quickly, Rob, if they get those 2 players, where does Bruno fit in after that?
Well, we've got a little passage in a minute we're going to show where he is playing as a central midfield player and it shows his weaknesses. I don't know where Bruno's going to play. He's a 10. They've got 2 10s at least. Where's Mason Mount going to play? They've got all these 10s and no 6s and 8s. And by that, I mean central midfield generals to be the engine room.
Calvin, thank you very much for coming out to chat to us. Always a bit nicer when you manage to earn a draw from a losing position.
Yeah, 100%. I think, especially second half, we pushed. Could have deserved more. I mean, we had some good moments, you know, with a better final pass or better finishing, it could have been maybe 2-1. But we did well to get back into game, and of course they've missed a penalty as well. So yeah.
Talking of the penalty, because you were right at the centre of a lot of the decisions that were made today. Let's start with the penalty one, because if we don't, you'll just be waiting for us to do it. Now, you think this might be a little harsh, but have you seen it yet?
Yeah, I still think it's harsh. I understand why it's given. I think it's where my foot is. I'm trying to stay strong because I know the block's coming, and then I've just sort of pulled him over my foot. I think if my foot isn't there, but I mean, refs got to protect us as well. I think I'm strong, so it looks a bit more aggressive. If it's someone stronger, I don't think it looks as bad. But yeah, I mean, you've seen it given, you've seen it not. It's just one of them ones.
Ashley, what did you think? As Calvin's friend.
As his friend, definitely shouldn't have been a penalty. If I take my friend head off, then I'm not too sure. I think that it could go either way. We said it in the studio that at times referees will see it and give it. At times referees will not give it. I think watching it in slow-mo like that, it looks worse.
Everything looks worse slow-mo, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course it
Everything looks worse.
Well, Ashley, we've actually got your half-time analysis. No, we haven't.
It was a good one,
But look, from your point of view, Lewis, they give away the penalty. There was also the incident behind with Luke Shaw, but obviously VAR can't go and look at that because it's not a penalty incident. There was a lot going on in that box, and that's something that referees have been asked to look at, especially this season.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you're now playing with this new technology, you have to be aware that your hand, your body, your position of your foot will have a situation to be looked at. So there is definitely moments where you have to actually make sure that you're on the good side. It happens, as you said, sometimes it's go for you, sometimes it's not. So on those situations, you always think that whatever you are using your hands, you are trying to avoid too much contact or for too long, and that's what happens. So. Unfortunately.
Yeah, what's the briefing been on what those decisions are going to be?
I mean, it's hard, sometimes when you feel the contact early, you go down and the ref can give you a foul. I mean, sometimes when you're in the game and the ball's there to be won, you're trying to get to the ball as quick as possible, and sometimes you've got to get the man out of the way. And I think there's a fine line between, giving a foul away and getting away with it. And yeah, maybe there a bit more contact. On another day, maybe ref doesn't look at it, or I don't know, it's just one of them ones. We just, as players, have to try to be clever. And I tried to communicate with the ref because I knew the block was coming. So I told him, every corner, watch the blocks. And yeah, I mean.
That's what happened when you're maybe wrestling for a player who's weaker than you, obviously. Yeah. That's what happened. If it was a stronger centre forward, you can challenge, I think
it's someone similar to my size. I think, as I said before, it probably doesn't look as bad. Slow-mo, it's always going to look worse. Yeah. Always going to look worse. So, it's something to learn for me and all the boys, and yeah, just be a bit more streetwise and smarter with it.
So a bit of relief then when the penalty was missed by Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, I think I say it's justice, and God had my back. So yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was a pen, and then he's missed it. So I mean, yeah, it's sort of a let off. You see me put my fist up in the air with. It's a bit of relief, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Gary Neville pointed out in commentary that the ref kind of knocks Bruno Fernandes in the build up to the penalty, not obviously in his run up, but in the sort of time just before. Is that really something that can put a player off?
I think that at the time, obviously, a penalty takers have got a routine that they like to go through, and when you're practicing it in training, you're not going to have a referee that's in the way that steps into it or bumps you out of the way. And I think Lou will know, as he's taken many penalties, that once you've got your routine and you go through that routine, you don't need anyone putting you off. You could say the referee's not really done a lot; he's only just touched him. But when you've got a routine and you go through it, and it's the way you take the penalties, then maybe it can put you off. And I think, to be honest, as soon as he's been touched by the referee, he's got anger inside him. And then I see the penalty going over like it did. You can tell that it's a problem.
This is the type of reaction you have seen over the years. We complain about this overreaction, he's throwing his hands and all that. So those reactions where everyone is going to judge every movement, I think he put himself in a position. And when you miss, you obviously come back, do punditry and say, oh, this is obviously something that has had an effect on him. So that's something that you need to work on.
Calvin, as we said, you were at the centre of a lot of decisions today. The other one was there was an incident in the build-up to the goal. So it was Lenny Yoro's header. It came off Rodrigo Muniz in the end for Manchester United. There are two hands on your back here.
I think it's the same as my one. It's a foul. He's pushed me and stopped me from getting to the ball. So I think when the ref looks back at it, they'll be disappointed. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just can't say too much before I get a fine. Do you know what I mean?
They said not enough force. Did you talk to him on the pitch?
Come on, it's a foul. Everyone knows. You know how it is as a player. You know how it is when you go up to jump and any little touch can put you off. And yeah, he's got 2 hands. How much force do you need? But yeah, on another day, it works in our favour.
Did you talk to the ref on the pitch?
Yeah, I did. I told him. Obviously, they've got a rule where only the captain can speak to him. I told my captain and he spoke to him, but they haven't checked it, so... Yeah.
Did you ask him why he didn't check it?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Like, he weren't trying to speak to me. He was trying to speak to our captain, and he wouldn't speak to anyone else. So I was like, just make sure you check it. And I don't know. He took a minute before he's given a goal. So maybe they have, maybe they haven't. But
they are checking it. But like you said, they've come back and decided that there wasn't, as they say, enough force to.
I mean, what do you want to do? Like, jump on the floor? I mean, it's enough for me not to be able to win the ball, and I think it's an advantage to him. So it shouldn't have been it should have been disallowed. But
do you think it's a similar level of force to the penalty that was given? Is that enough to disallow a goal? Is enough to overturn? Calvin's telling us how it felt to him.
This is normal. This is how he felt during the game. His strength sometimes is an advantage, sometimes he is not, depending on the size. And there is like, obviously, in slow-mo is a bit less worse than what we've seen for the first penalty. So I will think that based on a moment where you have motion, you have speed, and you have strength, it's always very hard for the referee to make the right decision. On this one, it's not as obvious, and that's why you get away with it.
Let's take a look at happier moments. Let's take a look at the equaliser. 94 seconds Emile Smith-Rowe was on the pitch before he brought Fulham level.
Yeah, I mean, Emile, he's a player with a lot of quality. We trust and we believe in him. He didn't start today, but what a reaction. I think he gives us something different to Josh. He arrives in the box so well. As you've seen there, he's arrived amazing and just got there in front of the keeper. And yeah, we're just happy with him, and hopefully he can keep building and getting more goals and big moments like that for us.
Yeah, you have a lot of playmakers. You know, Andre Pereira was not there today, but with those kind of movement, those kind of solution all the time with your strikers that you have, you're always creating chances. But on the way, you the game, and you feel like more confident in the second half. You're starting to actually impose in midfield. We couldn't cope, I would say, in so many moments in the game. So is this something that the manager really asks to actually get dominant, get confidence in midfield?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, all week we're analysing and seeing how we can hurt them. And of course, defensively, it's 5-2-3. Obviously, we have 3 in the midfield, clear overload, and it worked for us, you know. We just had to be dynamic. Alex went in there and got the ball and sort of had like a free roll, same as Josh, and it was working for us, so we kept on doing it. And yeah, I mean, for that goal, it's just a bit of quality, and yeah, we've been able to get level.
It looked like there was something that you was working on. Obviously, the 8's running in behind. You know, Bruno Fernandes and Mason Mount were in there. What we say is the corner run. And Alex, I know Alex from playing with him. He passes that ball all the time, and if you've got players that are running off there, you know he's going to find you. So was that something that you'd worked on in the week, that you saw a weakness maybe in Manchester United's defence?
Yeah, yes and no. I think it's one because, as you said, Alex does it all the time, you know, and it's about building relationships. You know, Alex got a good relationship with Emile and with a lot of the boys, Sasha and both our strikers. Every time he cuts into that right foot, he's looking for that ball, either front post or back post, and just there, you know, he's just got away from Raul, but Emile's just been alert and made a good run in the box, and it fell to him. So yeah, I think it's just building relationships and understanding each other and how they play. You know, Alex likes to float inside because, you know, Jedi is always going to be out wide. So yeah.
Listen, Calvin, really appreciate you coming out to talk to us. We kept you here for quite a while, so we're going to let you go. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. Good to talk to you. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Done a good point here against Manchester United. You made it hard for them in both ends. So what pleased you most about this performance?
The resilience to come back. We knew that the difference can be made off the bench as well. It happened last game again. So yeah, we were able to fight until the 90 minutes, and yeah, it's better to not lose. So we're able to get that point against a good team as well.
Yeah, talking about difference from the bench, Emile, you needed 1 minute and 33 seconds and 1 touch to score that goal. Could you talk us through that?
Yeah, it was all really quick, to be honest. You know, I know when Alex gets the ball, I know his trademark cross, you know. So, I knew where he was going to put it, and I just had to make sure I was there at the right time.
Did you see his movement?
I'll be honest, this time I didn't. I was aiming for Raul, but then I know he makes that running behind as well, so I just put in the area and I trust him to get onto the ball.
We kind of got used to seeing players coming from the bench and making a difference in this team. How do you think you guys keep these competitive levels so high? Because you don't have a large number in terms of squad.
I think it starts from training, you know. We're very competitive in training and, you know, I think it comes from there. We want to score goals, we want to contribute to the team, and we know when we come off the bench we have to work hard and try and score, so yeah.
And Alex, you kept putting yourself in good positions throughout the game. What helped you the most to find this position, especially to play through Man United's midfield?
I had trust in whether it was going to be Cess or Jedi or Anthony Robinson coming on the pitch to push on high, and it allows me to go in that pocket. It's something we worked on in training and we're able to execute in the match. I mean, we knew that we would be able to get behind their two midfields and the three centre-backs would want to jump, so we exploited that today.
And Emil, of course, you had a tough season last season with injuries. So what are your expectations for this one?
I think just to stay fit, you know, get consistent minutes on the pitch, yeah, give my all for the team, and yeah, hopefully we can start winning games as well.
And what would be a good season for Fulham, Alex?
To get more points than we did last season. I mean, we broke the record, so we aim to break it again and hopefully challenge for a European spot.
Emil, well done for the goal, but please do the honours for player of the match.
Yeah, bro. Thank you, my guy. Appreciate you, bro.
He scored the goal, but Alex Iwobi set him up his player of the match today. That goal will probably do the world of good for Emil Smith-Rowe, especially confidence-wise.
Yeah, he would have hoped before the game that he was going to be starting the game. He didn't. Josh King played in his position, which for any player, it dents your confidence slightly. So when you come on, have an impact. They all did, to be fair. I think that's what the players do in the Marcus Silva. They have an impact. They don't sulk. And the best thing you can do when you come on is have an impact in the game. If you have an assist or have a moment, or especially if you can score and get your team a point, it'll do him the world of good. And he can knock on the manager's door then saying, I'm ready for the next game. Start me. I'm ready.
93 seconds after being introduced off the bench, he was on the score sheet. Take us through it.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, they all had an impact. Don made a really good point. Jimenez, Anthony Robinson's one of the best left-backs in the division, but Dalot makes a poor sloppy turn there. And Robinson's got really good pace. I love this. The little run from Robinson. What's a ball from Iwobi that is? And it's just great awareness.
It's too easy, isn't it?
It is, but that turn from Dalot, you just can't do that. You can't turn the ball over there. But watch this little run from Robinson. He just runs in behind, gives that little space, and Buemo's got to track. Look at Bruno and Smith-Rowe. Bruno's ahead of Smith-Rowe. That's why when you play in that position, Jules, you've got to track back. You've got to defend. You're not a 10 anymore. You've got to defend. And he doesn't do that. Smith-Rowe knows that. Gamble's in there. Great little touch just to get it past the goalkeeper. And they deserve that. He's a smart player, Smith-Rowe. He's just got to stay healthy.
That's the negative side as well. If you're going to play Bruno Fernandes deeper, who's very offensive and a brilliant footballer, technically fantastic, pick a pass, score a goal, got great vision. If you're going to play him as a number 8, it takes a lot away from his game. And Smith-Rowe recognised that Bruno Fernandes was in the right position, but he looked at his goalkeeper, completely switched off, and Smith-Rowe knew exactly what Bruno Fernandes was thinking. He was thinking, if my goalkeeper gets it, I might be able to cheat, I might be able to have a little bit of space to play in. And it cost them because he didn't track the runner. That's what you get when you drop a number 10 back into a number 8 position. It's difficult for them boys because they're so offensive.
As you mentioned, and we were just showing you there, that 17 last season and now up to 19 since the start of last season. That's goals scored by substitutes for Fulham. They clearly have a knack for it. How does Marco Silva do it? What do you think?
Well, that's why the owner said, I'm not going to buy you any more players because you've got so many good ones coming from the bench. I mean, that's an amazing stat. You know, having the opportunity to bring players from the bench can impact. We said before, you know, what they had, Traore, Jimenez, Harry Wilson had a big impact on the game. They've got Robinson, I think, is easily one of the best left-backs in the division. He looked fantastic when he came on. So they have options, and that's a huge plus for a manager.
That's an ability from the manager to keep players on the bench happy. And that's not an easy skill because we've been pros and we know what it's like when you get dropped. I
bet you moaned like mad.
Oh, unbelievable.
Yeah, I was.
Friday I was the worst. Our manager just named the team on a Friday and wasn't in our sulked all Friday night. Because that's what can happen. But then you get your head on and then you have an impact or try to because of your teammates on a Saturday. So it's a skill from a manager when you're picking a team and picking a squad to make sure the most important guys are the guys on the bench ready to go when they get brought on. The 11 takes care of itself. Once tactically you put them in the positions and the games that they've played in, it's the skill to having the guys on the bench with the right attitude. And that's what he's got.
Yeah, fascinating point made by you there, of course, skill from the manager and that equaliser, wonderful, we've gone through it. But let's look at the goal from Manchester United that gave them the lead. And given what we'd said about the goalkeeper, their goalkeeper and corners, actually interesting they scored from a corner.
Well, first of all, it's a fabulous ball in from Buemo. He puts it into an absolute perfect area. But that looks like a push from Euro on Bassi because in the end, that space that he creates, which is probably a yard, I know it's not a huge push, it's enough. It's a yard and it allows Euro to get a free header. Obviously, it takes a deflection of Muniz, I think, and he ends up being an own goal because it's probably going wide. But that, I think, any level of football is a push. And I think Don made a really good point at halftime about the penalty. Consistency is the most important thing. Most important thing. Just whatever you're going to blow, just be consistent about it. We'll see that given, we'll see it not, and I think that's a frustrating thing.
See, we had a little bit of fun with the manuals before, but I'd be fascinated to see why the referee, why they haven't come up with any other concrete